Tropes are a word that you might hear regarding stories, but no one's ever really explained it to you. Hey, how you doing? My name's Carson Long, and that's what writing theory is all about. Tropes are something that you cannot ignore when writing your story because they play a critical role in how you can make a story that readers love. Cliches, on the other hand, well, readers don't love those. And what's the difference? Stick around and see. It is currently Novella November, and what does that mean? It means that I'm running live stream 5 days a week to help you write a story this month. I might be live right now. Come drop a cliche in the comments there and let me know how you found the stream. If you want someone to guide you through writing your novel this month, then check out the playlist below. More importantly, check out our Discord and join hundreds of writers like you who want to share resources, tools, advice, and more. I'll see you there. So what exactly is a trope? It's kind of a hard thing to describe because it's so abstract. Googling it will tell you that it's a common theme or device or a recurring element. And it's so vague because the word trope covers a lot of ideas. So instead of creating a really vague description, let's go the opposite way. Let's create a really specific description. A trope is a common or expected moment, a series of events, a character, setting, theme, or experience that can be found within a medium, genre, or story. I think that's as specific and abstract as I can get. Here's the important part. A trope is something that's been done before. And a lot of times, it's something that has been done so many times that people are largely familiar with it. The most common kind of tropes would be things like the chosen one or the mentor character. These are types, or archetypes is the word that they would use, of characters that are found in all kinds of stories. But it's not just characters, a trope is also a type of story. And to understand this, romance is a great place to look. The romance genre really embraces the story trope as a method of finding, recommending, and marketing stories. Friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, forbidden romance, love triangles. All of these are tropes in the romance genre. They describe the characters and their interactions and the story. And those who read books in this genre can use these tropes to find their next favorite book. That is the glory of tropes. They help you navigate and communicate story. Want to describe Lord of the Rings to someone? It's an epic fantasy that follows a group of heroes on a quest to save the world and defeat evil. Nearly every one of those descriptors is a trope that you could use to communicate the story to someone else or find other stories like it. So what does this mean for us as writers? Why are tropes important? Being aware of tropes as you're writing a story means that you don't have to start from scratch. Each genre of story will have a set of tropes that are nearly required. For example, a murder mystery will always have tropes of red herrings and the fact that it's never the obvious suspect. These are genre tropes, critical tropes that are expected by the audience for a successful story within the genre. Genre tropes are the main reasons why you should write in genres that you have some experience reading. There are likely prevalent ideas within a genre that you don't know about unless you read a few books within that genre. Writing a murder mystery without the hero confronting the villain at the end is unsatisfying. Writing a romance that doesn't end with a happily ever after or a happy for now ending might send readers into a riot, especially if it's advertised as a standard romance book. So what am I saying? Am I saying that you can't write a book in a genre that you don't read? Kind of. You should at least do some research into a genre if you want readers of that genre to like the book. And when you are writing within a genre that you know, you can use tropes to expand on story ideas that you have. And you're doing this subconsciously anyways. When you're planning a story, you are piecing together tropes without even knowing it. And if you're trying to subvert a trope, then that's a trope in itself. The chosen one has been subverted before, so many times that now there's an unchosen one trope. The stories that you create are an amalgamation of things that you like and things you want to subvert. Yo, what's your favorite genre to read? Whatever genres that you read, you can bet that those authors are using the best tools available to write strong stories. And that's why this portion of the video is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid is the storyteller's toolkit. It's made by writers for writers. And what makes Pro Writing Aid special are their writing reports. Each report gives you actionable feedback on how to make your writing better. Reports that you're familiar with, like grammar and spelling. But more advanced reports like sentence variety, which helps you vary your sentence lengths so that your story doesn't feel repetitive when reading. Other reports like echoes and overused words, which both help you avoid using the same word too many times. Maybe pay special attention to the cliche report. How appropriate. You can use Pro Writing Aid with any writing app that you use. The Desktop Everywhere app can integrate with any writing tool that you want. I use Scrivener and I love being able to get the editing feedback that I need without having to open another program. When you use Pro Writing Aid, your data stays protected. It uses bank-level security to keep your writing safe, and it never uses your writing to train its algorithms. You can try Pro Writing Aid right now and get 10% off if you use my code WritingTheory10 at checkout. Now back to this talking cliche. If you have a hard time understanding tropes, the best thing you can do is to explore tvtropes.org. This is a website dedicated to creating these sprawling webs of tropes within stories. And you can use this website to find your favorite stories and identify the tropes within those stories. And it's also how you can find more stories that contain your favorite tropes. Most of these tropes are extremely specific, identifying small trope moments that happen within a story. Yet you can also use it to identify larger genre tropes. For example, the thriller genre shows a bunch of different kinds of stories, including spy fiction. And within that genre, we have martini-flavored spy stories that glamorize spy life with cars and guns and luxury. And then there's also stale beer-flavored spy stories like Jason Bourne, which don't glamorize spying, but portray it as suspenseful and dangerous and more grounded in reality. And you can click further into these genres for more examples of the stories and the specific tropes found in those stories. All of this serves to help you create stories. I use this method to identify my favorite moments from stories and list potential tropes that I can use. And I don't know, this kind of gets me excited to write. You don't have to use this big list of tropes to plan a story, but it can be a great way to take a moment in your story and to turn it into something a little bit better. But what about cliches? If a trope is a positive spin on this common and expected moment, cliche is the same thing in the negative. And this is where it gets a little complicated because there isn't a single source on what tropes have become cliches. When you heard me describe tropes before, you may have noticed that so many of my examples were kind of broad. Chosen one is a trope that's been taken a dozen different ways to great effect. Cliches tend to be less broad and much more specific, and they're typically used as a shortcut or a crutch for lazy writing. I say that cliches tend to be more specific because you don't often hear people discussing the chosen one trope as a cliche. Instead, you might hear a line of dialogue as a cliche, like when a character at the end of a pulpy television show just can't crack the mystery, and they're talking to their spouse at night and something seemingly innocuous is said, but the main character has that look cross over their face. Of course, that's it. And then they go to solve the mystery because some random phrase uttered by someone completely disconnected from the situation. That's a cliche that is a crutch for poor storytelling that you see it time and time again. By the way, that cliche is called a eureka moment, and watching House made me use that as an example because it does it in basically every episode. So how do you tell a trope versus a cliche? Well, first, above all else, trust your gut. You are a reader just like everyone else. What cliches are you sick of? What tropes do you love? Beyond anything else, that is your distinction. Write what you love, don't write what you don't love. Controversial opinion, I know. Look, maybe there's more to say on this point, but I think it kind of all comes down to that. If you like an idea, others probably do too. There are millions of readers out there. A lot of them will share your taste. So much advice out there is write what you love or write what you know, and this is kind of why. You aren't a unique snowflake, sorry. You're a carbon copy of hundreds or thousands of other readers out there. You aren't the only one who likes gritty superhero stories. You aren't the only one who likes political thrillers. Write stories you want to read because others want to read it too. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. If you like breaking down stories like this, then subscribe. You can join our Discord with the link below. Come hang out in a live stream. It is one of the best things you can do to improve your writing. I will see you there. And as always, thank you for watching.